All right, here we go. Hold on. Uh, where are we? Oh, yeah. It's Tarot Lumination. Who knew? And this is your general report. It's for you, Cancer. It's for the time period February 2018. This too shall pass. Okay? So, Cancer, you're probably very aware that Saturn is moving through your seventh house right now, Capricorn, for the next 3 years. It's going to be interesting. Let's put it that way. Saturn in Capricorn. Talk about refurbishing, remodeling, repurposing, restructuring your personal life at the most intimate level with, let's say, the dynamic of marriage, the dynamic of one-on-one business partnerships, the most important one-on-one polarized relationships in your life. And really getting down to business of what really, really works. And, finding out what doesn't work too. It's Saturn is not very forgiving in that way. Whatever's not working is going to be exposed, okay? The other thing, what's going on, you've got Jupiter in Scorpio in the fifth house, so that's kind of encouraging, the great benefic Jupiter in that very, let's say, harmonious house of yours with that Scorpio energy. That's potentially very healing in its own way, bringing to the surface things that might have been very deeply buried that need healing, especially when it comes to love and romance, and at the most intimate levels. So there could be a lot of deep transformational healing that goes on with you, Cancer, in the context of a very intimate one-on-one relationship, combining those energies together. Now, we do have right now, it's a passing thing. It's a kind of more, it's serious, but we've got the eclipses, okay? And they're happening right now. So for you, Cancer, the new moon eclipse in the middle of February is going to be right up there in your eighth house of intimacy, joint resources, money, other people's money. And you just came out of the big full moon eclipse at the end of January, definitely relating to money. And so my feeling is like, you put all those things together, the concepts and those really the things that people don't like to deal with in relationships. SEX, MONEY, intimacy, all those things are like being brought to the surface. You put it on it, it's like turning it into an extended kitchen table meeting where you have meetings every week. What are we going to do about this stuff, honey? That kind of energy, okay? I'm talking seriously and dealing very seriously with very important stuff. That's typically the sort of stuff a lot of people don't want to deal with. Anyway, it's happening, Cancer, like it or not. So let's make the best of it. No jumpers, oracles, none of that. No reversals, sorry. We shuffle to the last second. You know how we do these things here. Watch for your sun, moon, and rising. Reinterpret to suit yourself. It's your reading for you. And then squish it all together. And do cross-watching too if you really want, okay? Cards are well shuffled in advance and right now to the very last second. Okay, here we go. Understand that we are blessed. We are surrounded by our angels here. All right, Cancer? Okay. So nurture yourself in very serious ways. This is the core heart energy of you, Cancer. You're very, very sensitive. You have a very big heart, and you're also very, very vulnerable. You're so much about the home, okay? And nurture and being nurtured. You're very good at nurturing, very good at nurturing others. It may be we're talking about time to nurture you in very much more serious, responsible, systematic, methodical ways now. Over here is like legacy energy. Like, what are you bringing in here? What are you coming in here with the reading? It's, if you think of this as an office, and you're walking in the door with your pockets, your briefcase, backpack, suitcases, whatever it is, what's in there? This is legacy energy, history, the past. Maybe you're loaded up with pain and suffering. Maybe you've got a sketchbook full of cool ideas, whatever it is. This is the ever-present now. Some people are uncomfortable with this. You might be loving it right now, Cancer, for all we know. Typically, you're very, very, immersed in the comforts of the home and the past and sentiment and things like that. And that can really put conditions on expectations of the future. So you're very vulnerable in that way, Cancer. Uh, like, kind of like gently, calmly, uh, kind of a almost like a cute, cozy way, trying to avoid this. Let's just take a nap. Let's just curl up in bed, okay? Let's hang out with the pets. That kind of energy, where sometimes we need to face things face on, okay? But that's where all the power lies. And in the moment, that's where you make your decisions, consciously or unconsciously. The healing power of our decisions, your decisions. So how is that going to work for you, Cancer? How are you going to make your decisions effectively to nurture yourself now in the context of these, let's say, really prominent energies right now, happening right now? The eclipses, Saturn moving into Capricorn for the next 3 years, Jupiter still in Scorpio for a good chunk of the rest of this year. How are you going to deal with all of that in a way that works for you, making decisions day by day, moment by moment, heartbeat by heartbeat? Consequentially, you know, if you're doing that, let's say conscientiously, then this would be the energy of consequence. If you're just floating through life and thinking that it just happens to you, then this will feel more like fate. Okay, over here, when we do, let's say, project or anticipate the land of opportunity, the land of what we call the future, then that's the whole purpose of decision making. It's an amazing phenomenon by which we can activate our evolution by deciding, well, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. So what happens if you make a good decision, loving yourself, okay, nurturing yourself, nurturing your heart first and foremost? And then what happens if you mess up on that? Okay, it's like a lot of what if here. Over here is the energy of prospects, momentum. So as soon as you've done all this, you move on to the next heartbeat. What next? What next? What next? What next? That's what the heart does. I need my nutrients. I need to get rid of the wastes. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Over here, we're going to look at circumstantial energy. And that is sort of like what's out there around you, like the backdrop, the theater, the stage in which you are living this life at this moment. And it's up to you, of course, Cancer, to make the best of it. Okay? Not let it own you. What have you got going? King of Cups. So it's an indication, Cancer, like if you're not handling things very well, it's very, very important now to really get your act together when it comes to handling things like the emotions and understanding the tides, the ups and downs, how we intimate, we separate, we intimate, we separate in deeply profound relationships. And it's perfectly natural and okay to do that. It's just that we might be being pulled here for you, Cancer, to go deeper and deeper, like deep ocean, going into the world of the deep oceans here. We're touching on the fifth house, the seventh house, the eighth house. So much about love and relationship for you, Cancer. And the idea is to maintain your dignity, rise up to your most dignified self, and learn through the process so that you can become this. So my feeling here is that the conditions are absolutely ripe and supportive for you to mature and grow and evolve. And even though the process might be, let's say, destabilizing, it might feel like you're being really pulled through some deep water, big, heavy currents, big tides that you've never had to deal with before to this level. And it's all combined, the fifth house, seventh house, eighth house. It's all about love and romance. Take that to the next level. Bam-o, that's marriage. And then the next level is the intimacy and the depths of energies that happen inside the marriage. Okay? So it's yummy and then serious and then deadly serious. Okay? And all the time, it's so important to maintain your sovereignty of self. Okay? Truly honor and respect yourself in these conditions. The conditions are very supportive for you to rise up to that level. There's a lot of pressure on you to do that. Okay? What is the heart going on? Okay. It might be almost so overwhelming for you, what's happening to you, Cancer, in some way, that you have no choice except to surrender to the unknown. Like your heart is basically saying, I can't figure this out anymore. It's okay. I surrender to spirit. I ask for the healing power of love to fill my whole life, world, and body, mind, and spirit from above. And so be it. Okay? Because Cancer, you might not be able to handle this like through logic, reason, or planning, or strategy, or the way you would normally solve problems in life, heal things, fix things, overcome things that need to be overcome, and import and understand and absorb things that need to be absorbed. Okay, it's the heart is almost basically, it's almost at a point, my feeling here for you, Cancer, is to literally, it's almost like allowing yourself to be gently pulled open and the mystery to unfold, because you're kind of going into depths here where you've never gone before, and now is the time. And you're not going to have to drown here or anything like that. It's much more about literally allowing things to happen in, let's say, in terms of divine order. That's how I'm feeling this, okay, for you, Cancer. And that can be disturbing. I mean, Cancers, you can often be very empathic, intuitive, sensitive, super hypersensitive, psychic medium type, all of those things. And that's great. And allowing yourself to work at that level. But even for you, Cancer, it's nice to have a sense of stability, to have this sense of sovereignty of self going through these big heavy tides right now. And it's almost like the card is saying here, don't try to hold on to anything, because that'll just make things more challenging. Allow yourself to live through the experience, almost like a mystical journey, okay? And the heart knows, okay? You might not understand it in logic, but the heart knows. What are you bringing in with you? Okay. It's almost like admitting, let's say you just walked into the office here and you just said, hey, TL, I have no idea what's going on. It's bigger than me. It's more than I can handle. I don't know what to do. And I just feel as though my whole life is being completely transformed. Well, yes, it is. Okay, so that's cool. That's the whole idea. Accept it. Be that. Live with that. Understand. If you think of this as the energy of Jupiter and Scorpio, you're bringing that in with you. You're allowing the great benefic Jupiter to heal you. Heal you by, let's say, systematically slicing and cutting away whatever is not yours and allowing the new stuff to come into you. It's like, oh, it's deep transformational healing. That's ultimately what it is. It's Jupiter and Scorpio doing its thing. And it's like coming into the office here and saying, oh, Jupiter and Scorpio is doing its thing, TL. And then I say to you, like, yes. And then you say, well, what am I supposed to do? And then Tarot Lumination says, you accept it. That's awkward. Okay. Anyway, so it's you're coming in knowing that you are being transformed literally from the inside out. It's that whole caterpillar turning into a chrysalis, morphing inside, and then turning into a butterfly. The old way is dead, the new way is birthed, and that's just how it is. Whew. Okay, Cancer. So at least you get it. You understand that it's happening, and it's you're like being open about it. And the heart is saying, we need to let this happen. We need to let this flow. It just might be in your day-to-day life. This could be freaking you out. Okay. And that would be totally understandable. But that's what is almost being called of for you to be able to rise to these new levels of evolution. Okay. And maintain and let's say come to your sovereign self more than ever before. Whew. Okay, Cancer, let's have a look. What about the now? How are we going to do this? Okay, understanding your self-worth. Please treat yourself as a highly valuable asset. And this might be something to do with the full moon eclipse that happened right at the end of January, where the moon was in Leo, casting doubt, like that shadow light doubt, on your value, your self-worth, your sense of who am I really? What are my skills? What are my talents? What am I supposed to do with myself? How am I supposed to rise into my full sovereign self? You have so much to offer, Cancer. What's happening is you're coming into a realization where you do have so much to offer. It just might be in the traditional, let's say, packaging or understandings of what what is the definition of value, okay, to yourself and to others? Others love you, Cancer. Others deeply, deeply love you. How much do you love yourself? If you are squashing yourself or feeling like you have to fit into a certain like cookie cutter lifestyle in order to be loved and appreciated, or loved in order to love others, then you could be doing yourself a disservice here. If you are in the present moment wondering right now, you see where that moon in Leo was, that was in your second house. That's very much to do with value, values, money, and self-worth. If you are telling yourself, oh, I'm worthless because I'm not rich, can you see how that's very destructive, self-destructive? So you have great value and dignity, and your circumstances are indicating that you are highly appreciated as a very, let's say, significant, a person of significance, even though you might be having serious doubts about yourself and having serious misgivings or complete inability to understand that. Inability to understand how valuable you are, how loving you are, how loved you are. Okay. So how do we deal with this? Okay, because there's a lot of transformation happening here. Jupiter in Scorpio in your fifth, Saturn in Capricorn in the seventh, the new moon Aquarius in the eighth, having come out of the full moon eclipse at the end of January. That's a lot of pressure on you, Cancer. Okay. Phew, okay, so how are we going to do? What about these decisions? You might be feeling like, okay, let's just put it out there. You might be overwhelmed with what I would call like the sadness and the grief and the misery that comes with transformation. It's almost automatic, because when we go through deep transformational healing, it is like a ripping, a cutting, a tearing, surgical removals of the things that do not work for us. And sometimes we become so attached to our wounds, our suffering, our pain, that they own us, that it becomes our identity. And then when the healing power of love comes into your life, it actually starts to do its job, and you start to allow it to happen, it can freak you out. In other words, let's say the surgeon is removing this tumor. It says, that has to go, that has to go, that has to go. But you say, well, wait a minute, that's my tumor. That's my ailment. That's my condition. That's my suffering. That's my pain. That's my whole life. You don't understand. And then the psychic surgeon says, well, it's got to go. You can't live with that. And all of a sudden you realize you're in love with your own pain and your own misery and your own suffering, and that owns you. And then now it's time to realize that there is a whole new life, whole world on the other side of you, comprised of like a miniature little Two of Cups. Do you see that? And it just might be a very, let's say, awkward, tearful, uncomfortable way for Cancerians to have to realize that, you can become very sentimentally attached to, and very, very, very like clingy. Cancerians can be very, very clingy. You might be a really, really good pet rescuer, for example, or a person rescuer, or a compassion junkie. And now it's time to treat yourself, with some of the love that you deserve. How are we going to make these decisions over here so that you turn things around from the pain and the suffering and the grief and the sorrow of everything that you've lost, and understand that there's still more for you to come, and it's very pure and it's full of love. Okay, please understand, Cancer, my feelings here, especially with the Saturn and Capricorn, the eclipses, and the Jupiter and Scorpio, is that there is a whole complete lifestyle, what I call a complete lifestyle package deal, is basically over. Okay? It's over. It's over. It's over. It's gone. It's done. It's history. It's like a huge, huge chunk of life is now officially in the journals, in the history book, never to be repeated. It becomes like a DVD or a video that you put on the shelf, and you've watched it a few times, and you're never going to watch it again. And so it goes on the shelf and collects dust forever. And now it's time to start all over again. Okay? But the new beginnings are all about the love and the healing that's coming to you now, okay? That still awaits for you. This is beautiful. This is beautiful energy for you, dear Cancer, there is essentially pure love out there waiting for you. It's just that the journey to get there might be like a 3 year process, arduous, a lot long and slow, like a long-term healthcare program. Like if you've got some very deeply buried wounds and things, the surgeon just can't come along there and just rip everything out right now. It's almost like having multiple surgeries, going through things a little step by step. We got to take out that part of the tumor, then that part, then that part, then that part. Then we got to fix the side effects that happen from the tumor over here and here, back and forth. So it's a long-term healthcare program for you, Cancer, in terms of learning how to love yourself more, ending of an old lifestyle package deal, the beginning of a new lifestyle package deal, where there's a lot that you don't know. You don't really know how this is going to play out, okay? How is this new little Two of Cups going to play out for you? Is there someone on the horizon for you, Cancer? Love, marriage, romance, intimacy? Who knows? We don't know. But you have to allow for that to happen, and that can't happen except by removing the obstacles from that happening. Consequently, yes, it's so much about healing. Okay, with the Temperance card here, this is very much. Do you see all these major arcana? You might feel as though your life is very fated right now. It's almost like because these planetary alignments are so powerful and so dominant on such sensitive parts of the chart for you, Cancer, it might feel like the whole universe is lining up to completely reconfigure you, do a complete remodel, refurbishment, repurposing against your will, because you had been so married to a pre-existing life, which is essentially now over, but there's no going back. And now you have to move forward. But the beauty is that the consequence is that it's very much about healing. It's deep alchemical soul healing at the most profound depths and levels. It's literally turning garbage into gold. It's let's turn it as a long-term program of love and healing towards the self, even though you really don't know have a clue how it's going to play out. Okay, so it's the end of one lifestyle package deal and the beginning of a new lifestyle package deal where healing is the number one priority for you, Cancer. You might have been a compassion junkie for a long time, perhaps multiple lifetimes, and now it's time to heal yourself and give a little bit of love to yourself. So what happens if you screw up and you turn back to your compassion junkie habits? Okay, well, things could get wobbly. It makes you unstable, and starts you pitting yourself against yourself again, doubting yourself, doubting your value, doubting your self-worth, uh, going back into the mud, so to speak, slipping off the highway, slipping into the gravel and the dirt and the mud where you lose traction. Whenever you do focus on allowing yourself to heal and be healed systematically, one, let's say, surgical procedure at a time in the grand spectrum of your life, and then it is very healing, and it brings things back into balance, okay, where you can find ways to systematically, incrementally gain more and more stability in your life in ways that are tangible evidence of how love is as love does. We're not talking about the romance and the chocolates and the flowers and the champagne here. We're talking about the nuts and bolts of love, the ability to get to the point where you can hang out with your loved one, hold hands and do nothing, just enjoy the sky and the evening together, perhaps having a sip of your favorite beverage. Who knows? So let's have a look here. So consequently, well, in terms of momentum, where does that take you? You got to laugh, Cancer. You got to. I mean, with the tower here, it's like a complete obliteration. We're not just talking about the end of a lifestyle package deal. It's total obliteration and starting all over from scratch again. It's almost like everything that you've ever known in terms of stability and the foundations of your life regarding those three departments: fifth house, sixth house, sorry, the fifth house, the seventh house, and the eighth house. Love and romance, creative self-expression, new business, new life, and the healing there. The serious remodeling and refurbishments in like a marriage type dynamic, one-on-one relationship dynamic, profound business contractual relationship dynamics, and then going into the depths, the intimacy of deep shared resources like contractual, financial. It's like getting married and you have a joint bank account. That's scary for a lot of people. Those kind of things, that's very transformational for you. It's this whole reading is about transformational healing for you, Cancer. Okay, I know you can handle it. So it's about realizing you have to, the secret to all of this, the mystery is to allow it to happen. Literally allow the great unfolding to happen by the great remodeling and repurposing that is inevitable here for you, Cancer. Okay? It's going to be a journey. It's seriously a journey. That's why I call it a journey spread. This is for February. Next month it'll be different. But for right now, it's kind of epic. Okay, so you're kind of going through it right now. You're feeling it face on. All right, that's enough. You can reinterpret however you want. Okay, Cancer. All the best. Do all your cross watching and all that. Bye.